So let's see if it's working now. This seems better. Hold up. So I think it's fine now. Alright. So let's see if it's working now. This seems better. Alright, we're good to go. Nice. Good to go. So I'm still lagging a bit, which is awkward. So, yeah, you guys can't start. Oh my god, I'm lagging. So this is the semifinals of the Season 5 Premier League. We have Somnus on what is Jeskai 4-color Ascendancy, and NASCAR Father is on straight Atarka red. So looking at opening hands now, Somnus seems to have a really solid hand. He's got a Spell Pierce, which is a pretty good piece of interaction versus Atarka. He's got 2 lands, a bunch of dig spells, and 1 of the combo pieces already. Meanwhile, if we're looking at NASCAR's side, we see that he actually top decked the 1-drop on turn 1, which is sweet, because his hand was looking a little weak. But there's going to be a Dragon Fodder next turn, which is pretty cool, although Somnus will most likely Spell Pierce that. And there's also an Atarka Squall, which can deal a lot of damage later in the game. So, just looking at this matchup is a race. The Atarka red somehow has to kill the Ascendancy deck before it combos off, basically. So from that perspective, the start looked pretty good, although this Spell Pierce did a lot of work. So Somnus doesn't actually have a 3rd land in hand, so I'm guessing he will go for the strategic planning, which you will look at the top 3 cards, put 1 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. The graveyard thing is really important. It fills the treasure cruise that he has there, so let's hope for him that there's a land in the top 3 cards of his deck. That would be great. There is. Cool. And so this is interesting. He grabbed the mountain and he binned an Ether Hub and a forest, which I think is interesting, because he has the energy for the Ether Hub, and the Ether Hub would be able to cost the Opt at the end of NASCAR's turn, but we'll see. NASCAR's hand is looking a little awkward here. He's only got 2 burn spells and 1 creature, and I think the play here is to attack for 1, and the next turn you can... it doesn't matter. I think you just... Oh, he's just gonna Lightning Strike phase. I was gonna Atarka's Command, but this play is about the same. It deals 5 points of damage. Then he's got another 6 coming next turn. 1 from the Soulscar Mage, 1 from Prowess, another 1 from Atarka's Command, and then the last 3 from Atarka's Command, so that's 6. Botanical Sanctum is a bit of an awkward draw. There are currently 6 cards in Somnus Graveyard, so he can go for the Treasure Cruise here. Although playing the Op beforehand would of course be free. So we'll see what ends up happening. It's important that, yeah, well, this matchup is a race. Ooh, that's a huge draw. He can play that next, so he should have the win in 2 turns. Which means that NASCAR, oh wait, he doesn't have white mana. Okay, so... Okay, he found the white mana that he needed in the Unbridled Grove. So now he can play the Botanical Sanctum, play an Ascendancy next turn, and most likely win the game the turn after. So that means that Nas has to find another 6 points of damage, because he's got 6 in hand right now. I think he has to draw 2 burn spells here, because a single burn spell, or 2 burn spells or Stoke the Flames. A Monastery Swiftspear, I think that works. So that's what, 9 this turn, and then he would need to find a spell of something that deals damage off the top. So basically, he would need to find something that isn't a creature or a land next turn. And once again, you can see that this game is incredibly close. It's a race, and had that Botanical Sanctum beaten the Plains, and Somnus would have won for sure. But we'll see what ends up happening here. So I'm assuming that Nas is gonna fire off. He's gonna hold on to the Atarka's command. Do I like that? The Atarka's command would have dealt an additional 2, 4, 7 damage with an Insomniac to 3. So let's see if there's anything in his deck. I don't know for sure if he has Stoke the Flames in his deck, but there's nothing. Yeah, there's no card in his deck that isn't lethal next turn because he didn't cast the Atarka's command this turn. And if there's a Stoke the Flames, he's gonna be real sad when he draws that. So what's happening here? That's the Jeskai Ascendancy. That makes sense. So let's see what he draws. And that should be lethal. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 11 damage. Yup, that is lethal. So Misplay didn't quite come to hurt us, but I think you have to fire off the Atarka's command. Although, from his perspective, he doesn't know about the Sylvan Awakening, so he might think he has time, but I don't think this is a matchup where you can be greedy with your Atarka's command. And firing off Atarka's command on 2 prowess creatures seems really good. But game 1 is finished, so we're off to game 2 now. I mean, we'll have them played out. I shouldn't have touched my mic. Alright, that might have sounded a bit harsh, but there was stuff on my mic. So what's he gonna do? He's gonna Atarka's command 4+1+1. That makes sense. It doesn't really matter which order he does it here. Some of this is just that. So then I touch my mic again. Let's have a look at this. Oh, I should have thought more about this, but I don't have access to the sideboards. Oh, hold on. He's not actually dead because there's a Spell Pierce. I completely missed that he had drawn a Spell Pierce. I was so caught up in my logic. If Nast finds a spell, he loses the game. But in this case, this is only 9 damage, so Somnus will go to exactly 1. And I presume that he is able to combo off from here. So this is 6 points of damage. This is actually interesting, and now I get why Nas thought about this a little longer. And if you suspect the Spell Pierce, I might cast the Hurling Outburst first. Because you don't care if he Spell Pierces the Hurling Outburst. Right? Because you can cast the Atarka's command after. And the prowess is what. Yeah. I'm not sure if I agree with Nas's line of play here, but it's close. So we're looking at the first pre-boarded game. So there is actually a Stoke the Flames in Nas's deck. So in that case, I think that not firing off the Atarka's command was a brutal mistake. And it actually cost him the game, because when he fired off the Atarka's command, he could have A, paid for the Spell Pierce, B, he didn't have it yet. And then C, the Spell Pierce just wouldn't have done anything, and Somnus would have been that last turn. So I think that's a gross misplay, especially if there's Stoke the Flames in your deck. So game 2, however, Nos gets to be on the play here, which is huge, obviously, in a matchup like this. Although Somnus' hand is looking pretty decent, he's got a bunch of dig spells. He can play an Ascendancy on turn 3, and if he finds how's it called? If he finds a Sylvan Awakening, he might just have a turn 4 kill her. So let's see. I think you want to be as aggressive as possible. I don't. So you just, yeah. So you play the Soulscar Mage, and I'll fetch up at that land end of turn, and then next turn you just fire off a bunch of bird spells. There's like... And so the Atarka summon is 9 points of damage, and the 10, and then the turn after the Wild Slashes are exactly lethal. So this is looking like, what, a turn 4 kill from us, if he just goes all in. I don't think this was... He's holding up the negate. Okay, I like that decision a lot. Because now Nos will be able, he will be able to negate the Atarka's command if Nos chooses to fire it off. And in most matchups, from the Atarka player's point of view, I don't hate just attacking and passing the turn here, because you get the strength of mana, but against a combo deck you just need to be as fast as possible. And this is a really heads up play by Nos. He goes for the Wild Slashes this turn instead of the Atarka's command, so he does still have the turn for a kill. But the Atarka's command would have eaten a negate for sure. And he also knows that if Somnus wants to hold up negate next turn, he can't play Ascendancy. And I think that if Nos looks at his board and at his hand and at the life totals, he recognizes that the only way that Somnus actually wins this game is if he has Ascendancy and Sylvan Awakening. And I think this game is over because Nos just has the turn 4 kill in his hand. So it's 1-1 headed into the post sideboarded games, which is pretty cool. I think the game showed what matters in this matchup. Being on the play is huge. Racing is huge. Nos, this was a really good draw from Nos. That was just a clean turn 4 kill. There's not much to do about this from Somnus' side. This matchup is extremely non-interactive, basically. So the players are going into sideboarding. So I'm thinking about what I want to do here. So actually, what I can do is go here, and then we can actually go ahead and look at the sideboards if I can find the lists. So let's scroll down a bit. Okay, so let's go there, copy this link. So this is a bit unprofessional what I'm doing here, but I think it's necessary. So we'll start by looking at Somnus sideboard, if I can control F that. Somnus, okay. Oh god. Hold on, so let's see if anything's happening here. Alright, so for Somnus we have a copy of Abrade, a copy of Naturalize, 2 copies of Rending Volley, 2 negates, 1 Torment Script, 1 Dispel, 3 Monastery Mentors, 4 Radiant Flames. So I imagine the Radiant Flames are coming in. I imagine the Dispel was coming in because there's a lot of good instants in the Atarka deck. Okay, I'm sorry. I accidentally plugged out my headset. I'm not sure if you want to go for the Monastery Mentor plan here. You might, although I think... I'm actually not sure. I have no experience playing this deck at all, so that's up to Torment, up to Somnus to decide. Then I don't think there's anything else you want. Negate is kind of slow, so let's now... Okay, so we're headed into the post-boarded games. Alright, so what I want to know is... Oh, hold on. So we'll leave the game for a bit. That Edithspear Harvester is from the sideboard. So let's look at the game. Somnus' hands looks really solid if he's able to find another land. He is, so he can choose to play a Radiant Flames here, or he can play Ascendancy. I'm not sure which I like more here. He's going for the Flames, okay. So this Edith Sphere Harvester is really interesting because that's a card that's I don't think it's in his main deck. No, he has 2 copies in the sideboard. So he might have just some dead cards that he wants to board out. But so let's look at this. I honestly don't think that there are many cards here that he wants to board out for the Ether Sphere Harvester. That's interesting. I'll ask him on that decision later. But we have to go back to the game here. So, oof, that's slow. I mean, it's the correct play here for sure. But it's also just so slow. And Somnus is actually facing a bit of a troubled situation here because he only has 1 energy, so he doesn't really want to cast a thing in the ice if it means it cuts himself off of all mana that isn't green. And Nos finding the 4th land there is huge because now he's able to cast the Dragon Father, crew up the Harvester, and also cast a Reckless Bushwhacker, which represents what, 2, 4, 8 points of damage. Or did he already play land? Hold on. He did not, right? No, he did not. So he just chose not to cast a Reckless Bushwhacker. He's gonna go for Copter. So my question is, does he have a kill next turn? So he crews, he casts Atarka's commands, that's 1, 2, 8 damage. Yeah, so 2, 8. Yeah, so Somnus is just that next turn. Although the negate will help. So let's see what he's doing here. This draw has been incredibly awkward from Somnus, drawing the Ether Hubs without throwing the Attune with Ether, so he doesn't have any energy to cast the spells. I think the only option you have here is hold up the negate, and then you're not that next turn, but you're still in a lot of trouble. You're taking 2, 4, so 2, 6, 10, 12 damage next turn, even without the Atarka's command. Or, no, that's not right. So he's taking 10 here. That's a lot of damage. So he's gonna crew. He's gonna crew. I don't like this play. I don't know what Nuz is doing, but he doesn't seem to be playing the Reckless Bushwhacker. And if you're not playing the Reckless Bushwhacker, he's looting first. Let's see what happens. So if you don't play the Reckless Bushwhacker, okay, you can actually play the Atarka's command now. But I don't see why you wouldn't just go for the option that would be lethal. It would be lethal, right? So that's what, 8, 10... Oh, it wouldn't quite be lethal. Okay, in that case I actually understand this play. He's also not gonna play the Soulscar Mage. Okay. Somnus just scoops it up. I'm not sure if Nos played that entirely correctly, but hey, I'm no Atarka player. And I trust Nosk. He's a good player. He's a good player. So let's go back to that turn. So let's see how. Okay, good. I was thinking I actually had my how's it called? Webcam on. So let's go back to that turn. I think you should probably. I mean, maybe he didn't want to overextend to do another sweeper. That would actually make sense. And he knows he has lethal next turn. Yeah, I like that line of play. I really like it now I think about it. Oof. This is looking like a really good hand from Somnus, and Somnus gets to play on the play as well. So we're in game 4. Nuss is onto a 2-1 lead. Oof. Oh, these are 2 really good hands. These are two extremely good hands. So I think that if Somnus finds a 1-mana spell, he probably just has a win set up for turn 4, which is really good. Nos is gonna be a little bit slower than that, but not by much, I think. Grabs the Radiant Flames. That might delay Somnus 1 turn. We'll see. Windswept Heath. Okay, that's an interesting fetch to run. Not sure about that, but he might have just wanted to run more than 8 fetches, and then in that case Windswept Heath is probably the next best. So let's see what the play is here from Nos. So I don't think you want to dash this in, because you want to use up your mana over the next few turns on presumably other burn spells. So I'm thinking just attack for 1 and play a Bell Striker. He's actually gonna dash it in. Not sure how much I like that decision. It gets in 2 extra points of damage now, and otherwise it would be 3 extra points of damage in the turn he cost Atarka's command, so I think he just missed a point of damage there. So Somnus probably, so if his next draw is exactly Opt or Ethereum with Ether, he might have a kill next turn. If that's not the case, however, I mean, I don't think that Nos will be able to kill him in 2 turns. Although, you cast Hordling Outburst now, so that's 2 damage down to 14. Then the turn after, you've got 4 damage on board. Atarka's command deals another 5, 8, so that's 12, and then 15. So Nos actually does have a kill next turn, if my calculations are correct. And that's not... Oh, so... There's a Radiant Flames in Somnus' hand, which I completely missed. And that will delay Nos significantly. And I think that Somnus should have a kill locked up for next turn, if he manages to find anything with his Anticipate and his next draw step. Although, after this play, I think you can take your time, because Nos' clock is gonna be really slow. So I imagine the play from Nos is play out the Harvester and play out the Bell Striker this turn. And then the turn after he's got a maximum of 4, 7, 10 damage. If he goes all in. 12 if he finds a land. So the decision for Nos here is if he wants to dash in this Bell Striker. What do I think about that? So if you cast Bell Striker now, you attack for 2 points of damage. Then the turn... You can cast 1 burn spell less, I think, if you do that, because... I'm a fan of playing the Ether Spear Harvester and playing the Bell Striker, and you've got a kill set up over, what, 2 turns? Next turn it's 3, 4, 7, 10, possibly 12 points of damage. Yeah, and I think Nos came to the same conclusion as I did. So we'll see what Somnus finds here. Unbridled Grove. I mean, so the question here is if he wants to go for it or not. So I'm guessing that Somnus is probably thinking, is there any combination of cards that could kill me? Okay, he's going for it, obviously. But I think he might actually just want to hold off a turn, because what combination of cards... Is there any combination of cards that would kill him? So let's see if Nos has exactly the Atarka's command, which he doesn't, of course. It would be 3, and then each Atarka squad deals 4 damage, so that's 11. So even with a land, a wild slash and double Atarka's command is Nos is only at 13 points of damage, so I think you can wait her. Although I don't think you are extremely likely to fizzle her, because you get a bunch of how's it called, loot triggers. So the island's gonna hit the bin here. And he's also got another Sylvan Awakening to maybe try to combo off next turn as well. So I actually really like this play. Now I think about it. Although there's also a slight chance that you don't have enough gas left in the tank to go off next turn. Well, if you had waited another turn, you maybe could have won, because I think we've determined that there's no combination of cards Nos could have to kill him next turn. Ooh, the Naturalize is actually a huge find. So discarding the Sylvan Awakening means that he is going for it this turn. But naturalizing the Harvester is actually a huge play, because it just gives him so much more time, I think. Although it only is like 1 point of damage, and now I think about it, it doesn't even give him that much more time. So let's see, how many spells does he even have to cast? Nas is at 15, which means that his lands are base 2/2, so he needs his land to be 4 power, I think. So his lands are at 5, so he just wins her. Yeah, he's swinging for 25 unblockable damage here. Oh, he's actually gonna keep going. But I'm not sure if he realizes he already has lethal, but he was gonna swing for like 30 points of unblockable not blockable damage. So that means that we have a game 5 on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. To be honest, it's not the most interesting Magic to watch. A non-interactive combo deck versus a non-interactive aggro deck. But I still like that they're going to game 5. And it is testing my calculation skills, which is cool. I'm almost done with school, so I gotta keep up that calculation, you know. Anyway. So it looks like Nos is going back to his sideboard, possibly boarding out the Aethersphere Harvesters. So that gives me some time to look at it. Do you want Hazard in this? No, I don't think you do. Expertise is bad, Abrade is bad. He's got not much in his sideboard for this matchup. Ooh, once again, we're looking at a really solid hand for Somnus. So he's already got 1 combo piece. He's got a board wipe and a spell pierce. He will be on the draw, but I think this is exactly the kind of hand that you need to win this matchup on the draw. Oof. It's looking like my audio might have been unplugged for a while, and I was saying a bunch of stuff. So let's see. Let's look at these hands. So we already looked at Somnus' hand, so let's look at Nas' hand as well. I wouldn't keep this hand. I mean, if you draw the second land, if you draw 2 lands, you're good to go, and you have an incredibly good draw, I think. But on the other hand, if you don't, you're kind of screwed. Is anything being said in the chat? So Nas is having a good think about this hand, and personally I might mulligan it, because I don't like taking this risk, not in game 5 of a semifinals. But on the other hand, if it works out, it's gonna work out really well. Like, really well. Potentially swinging for calculation again. So that's 2, 5 points of damage. Well, Wild Slash is 7 on turn 3. And then the turn after, you've got, what? 3. Plus 4 is another 7. He's gonna keep it. 14. Plus 3 is 17. So he needs to draw something else apart from lands. So I don't think he can kill before turn 4 here, or on turn 4 or earlier. Even if he draws the land. Okay, he drew the first land, so that's step number 1. Oh, and the Spellpiercer is gonna take out the Copter. But if you just look at the sand, I think it probably Goldfish is a turn 5 kill if you draw well. Oh, and this hand is sweet. So he can just hold up the negate to see if he's... And the Swift Spur is actually a pretty good draw here. Now he's gonna Wild Slash, so that's 4 points of damage total. Someone's going down to 13, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, okay. So, I think this is a pretty easy Radiant Flames from Summoner's perspective, especially if you have another one. You just buy so much time. You're at 11 as well. So you've got some time. Yeah, so there's a Radiant Flames. And he did manage to draw the third land. But I don't think that's enough. I might have actually fired off the Wild Slash this turn and searched the Bushwhacker, just because it's more mana efficient and the Wild Slash isn't gonna do much else. So he's gonna attune and then cast presumably Jeskai Ascendancy. And Nos actually just has 6 points of damage in his hand. So a burn spell on the next 2 draws is what it just kills Somnus if he doesn't go off at some point. You found the land. It's not really what you're looking for. Although he is only 1 land off of activating the runes. I'm not sure why you would cast us now. But I think it's fine. Not to run into the gate. So a land or a burn spell or a Monastery Whisper does it here for Somnus. For Nuz. And I might actually Radiant Flames her. Because you're not able to go off her. So we'll see what he's gonna do. So this is a Radiant Flames. Yes, I like this play. It still leaves you dead to Lightning Strike or Stoke the Flames. So let's see. Discard the land, I like that. And then just hope he doesn't draw the... Okay. So he's really happy that he went for that, because otherwise he would be dead now. Somnus is at a virtual 1 here. So this is anticipated end of turn. So Somnus either has to find... I'm not sure if he's... So he probably has to find something really good, or... So okay, I'm just speaking terribly. So what I'm saying is he either has to kill this turn, which seems unlikely, or he has to fade another draw from NASCAR and then hopefully win the turn after. Oh, he actually found the Sylvan Awakening and the Treasure Cruise, so this should be a pretty easy kill from here on. That was exactly the kind of draws that he needed to win this turn, and that's huge, and I think that's gonna do it. This should just be lethal. I mean, Nas is at 18, he has to cast, what, a few spells only? How many spells does he have to cast? Let me think about this. So, they need to go to, what, 4, so he needs to cast 3 spells. And we're done. So that was game 5. And I'm gonna try to set up a quick interview with Somnus. So I'm actually gonna try to set up a quick interview with Somnus. So let me call him. Never mind then. He doesn't have a mic, that's pretty ripped. I was hoping we could do a quick interview. That's a shame. If you win. Alright, so I think we're closing off the stream here. I hope y'all liked it. I hope anybody watched. So see you guys later for the finals.